Ever wondered how a sleepy island province with more cows than cars just became one of the most important chess pieces in the Indo-Pacific? Yeah, not Tokyo, not Guam, Batanes, the place known for rolling hills, stone houses, and postcard sunsets, is now sitting at the front row of the biggest geopolitical showdown of our time. And here's the twist.
We want a peaceful, stable, and prosperous region, a region where sovereignty is respected.
A lot of what's happening there is funded, directly or indirectly, and by the United States.
A more secure and open Indo-Pacific and Indian Ocean region by bolstering maritime security and domain awareness.
Not because they love the weather, but because Batanes sits right at China's front door to the Pacific. And when geography becomes strategy, things get serious. Today, we're breaking down the 10 major U.S.-supported projects and deployments in Batanes that are quietly transforming it from peaceful paradise into a deterrence powerhouse. By the end of this list, you'll see why Beijing is paying very close attention. Let's start with the obvious. Number 1. The Luzon Strait advantage. Batanes isn't just scenic. It sits in the middle of the Luzon Strait, the waterway between Luzon and Taiwan. This is the highway connecting the South China Sea to the Pacific Ocean. Think of it as the narrow doorway China's Navy must pass through if it wants open ocean access. And guess what? Batanes overlooks that doorway, more specifically, the Bashi Channel, one of the most critical choke points in the Indo-Pacific. If you control the choke point, you influence the traffic. And in military terms, that means you can monitor, track, and, if necessary, deny access. That's not tourism strategy. That's deterrence 101. But geography alone doesn't deter anyone. So what did Manila and Washington do next? Number 2, the Mahatao Forward Operating Base. In Mahatao, the Philippines commissioned its largest military development in Batanes to date, a forward operating base designed for territorial defense, maritime domain awareness, and disaster response. Now here's what makes it interesting. Unlike EDCA sites that receive direct U.S. funding, Mahatao is Philippine-led. But make no mistake, it fits perfectly into U.S.-Philippine strategic alignment. It gives the armed forces of the Philippines a platform to project presence into the Luzon Strait. Translation, it says, "We're watching." And when you build a bigger platform to watch, you usually need better tools to see with. Which brings us to something far more subtle. Number 3, the Itbayat Joint Facility, officially described as a weatherproof warehouse. Sounds harmless, right? Disaster relief supplies, emergency provisions, humanitarian assistance, all true, but here's the thing about dual-use infrastructure. It can serve both peacetime disasters and wartime contingencies. A reinforced warehouse can store relief goods, or equipment, or sensors, or logistics support for rotational forces. And Itbayat sits just around 150 kilometers from Taiwan. That's not coincidence. That's positioning. But a warehouse alone doesn't create deterrence. You need presence, visible presence, which is exactly what happened next. Number 4, permanent troop increase in Batanes. For years, Batanes was lightly defended. Now, the AFP has increased troop deployment in the province, recognizing it as a frontline region. And that's a big psychological shift, because when you move troops north, you're signaling something. We're preparing for external defense. For decades, the Philippine military focused inward, insurgency, internal security. Now the pivot is outward, external threats, maritime domain, territorial defense. That's not just troop movement. That's doctrine evolution, but troops without firepower are just observers. And this is where things get spicy. Number 5, the deployment of U.S. missile systems during exercises. During recent Balikatan and Kamandag exercises, the U.S. deployed systems like the Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System, Nemesis, ground-based anti-ship missiles with roughly 115-mile range on islands inside the Luzon Strait. Let that sink in. A mobile anti-ship system placed along China's potential access route to the Pacific. It's like parking a very serious "Do Not Enter" sign in the middle of a naval highway. Now Beijing calls this destabilizing. Washington calls it deterrence. Manila calls it alliance cooperation. Whatever you call it, it changes calculations. Because now any naval movement through that choke point must consider potential interdiction. But missiles don't operate alone. They need eyes. Which leads us to the next layer. Number 6, Maritime Key Terrain Security Operations. This isn't just about placing weapons, it's about practicing complex, all-domain coordination. During Commandog 9, U.S. and Philippine forces rehearsed maritime interdiction operations in Batanes, transport aircraft insertion, remote launcher positioning, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, integration, kill webs connecting sensors to shooters. This is not symbolic. This is operational rehearsal. And when rehearsals happen repeatedly in the same location, it sends a clear message. We know how to operate here, but military drills are temporary. Infrastructure, that's lasting. And here's where the bigger network starts forming. Number 7. EDCA expansion in Northern Luzon. While not all inside Batanes, several enhanced defense cooperation agreement sites are located in Northern Luzon, Cagayan, and Isabela, strategically leaning toward Taiwan. These allow U.S. rotational access to Philippine bases for training, humanitarian response, and yes, potential contingencies. Officially, humanitarian. Strategically, flexible. Cargo aircraft today, fighter aircraft tomorrow, if required. The genius of EDCA isn't permanent bases, it's rapid scalability. And scalability equals strategic ambiguity, which, by the way, is a polite way of saying you don't know exactly what we'll do. And that's the point. But here's something even more overlooked. Number 8. The Philippine Coast Guard Station on Itbayat. Deterrence isn't just missiles and Marines. It's law enforcement presence, maritime data collection, monitoring illicit trade, trafficking, piracy, foreign intrusion. Because gray zone operations are China's specialty. Coast Guard cutters, maritime militia, pressure without open war. By strengthening Coast Guard presence in the north, Manila is closing gaps in peacetime monitoring. It's subtle, but it matters, because information dominance precedes military dominance. And speaking of dominance, let's zoom out. Why does this matter beyond the Philippines? Because Batanes isn't just about Manila, it's about the first island chain. And that's where we're heading next. But before we go there, think about this. If you were Beijing, watching a once quiet province transform into a layered network of bases, sensors, troops, and missile drills, would you ignore it, or would you start recalculating? That recalculation is exactly what deterrence is designed to trigger. And in Section 2, we're going deeper. We're talking submarine cables, aircraft carrier transits, the Bashi channel bottleneck, Taiwan contingency scenarios, and why Batanes might become one of the most strategically decisive locations in any future Indo-Pacific conflict. Ready to level this up? Perfect. Let's turn up the heat. We've talked infrastructure, we've talked missiles, we've talked troop presence. Now we zoom out, because Batanes isn't just a defensive outpost, it's a pressure point, and pressure points decide outcomes. Let's continue. Number 9. The Bashi Channel Bottleneck. If the South China Sea is a chessboard, the Bashi Channel is the narrow hallway you must pass through to reach the next room. This channel, part of the Luzon Strait, separates Batanes from Taiwan. And here's the uncomfortable reality for Beijing. Any major Chinese naval force heading into the wider Pacific must move through this corridor. Aircraft carriers, destroyers, submarines, all roads lead through the Luzon Strait. And now, that corridor is being watched, practiced, mapped, rehearsed. During recent exercises, U.S. and Philippine forces simulated anti-ship strikes precisely in this area, coinciding, not coincidentally, with actual Chinese carrier movements through the strait. That's not random timing. That's signaling. Imagine trying to leave your driveway, and your neighbor is casually practicing basketball shots at your garage door. Not illegal, just very clear. This is classic choke point strategy. Control the narrow path, and you complicate the stronger Navy's freedom of movement. And here's why that matters even more. Because this isn't just about ships. It's about the first island chain. Number 10. The first island chain strategy. Japan, Taiwan, Philippines. Together, they form what U.S. strategists call the first island chain, a geographic line that limits China's direct naval breakout into the Pacific. Batanes sits right in that line. It's the southern anchor near Taiwan. If tensions ever explode over Taiwan, control of the Luzon Strait becomes critical. For China, it's a gateway. For the U.S. and its allies, it's a gate. And gates can be opened or closed. That's why U.S. Marine units specializing in littoral warfare, smaller, mobile, missile-capable units, are training in these islands. The doctrine is simple. Don't build massive bases. Build flexible nodes. Deploy quickly. Disappear quickly. Strike if necessary. It's deterrence designed for modern warfare. Agile, distributed, hard to target. And here's the genius part. Batanes doesn't look threatening. No massive concrete fortresses. No giant American flags waving over permanent bases. Just humanitarian facilities. Disaster warehouses. Rotational exercises, but layered together. It forms a denial network. Sensors, missiles, airstrips, warehouses, forward operating bases, Coast Guard stations, troop presence, exercises. It's not one big move. It's 10 small moves. And 10 small moves, aligned correctly, can change the board. Now let's zoom even further out, because this isn't just military chess. It's economic gravity. Nearly 30% of global maritime trade passes through waters connected to this region. Trillions of dollars in shipping, undersea fiber optic cables, energy reserves beneath contested waters. If conflict disrupts the Luzon Strait, global markets feel it. Supply chains feel it. Energy prices feel it. That's why deterrence here isn't just about the Philippines. It's about keeping sea lanes open, freedom of navigation, strategic stability. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Beijing views this buildup as encirclement, a tightening ring from Japan in the north to Taiwan down to Batanes through Northern Luzon EDCA sites. It looks like a network forming around them, and networks create friction. China has already criticized missile deployments in the region as destabilizing. But here's the paradox of deterrence. To prevent war, you prepare for it, quietly, systematically, relentlessly. And that's exactly what's happening in Batanes. Now let's address the big question. Is Batanes being militarized? Yes, but not recklessly. This is layered deterrence, designed to raise the cost of aggression without firing a single shot. Because the goal isn't war, the goal is calculation. If you're Beijing and you see anti-ship systems rehearsed in the Luzon Strait, expanded troop presence in Batanes, EDCA access points in Northern Luzon, joint facilities positioned near Taiwan, coordinated maritime domain awareness, you start factoring risk. And when risk outweighs reward, that's deterrence working. But here's what makes this even more fascinating. For decades, the Philippines was seen as the weak link in regional security, underfunded navy, limited external defense posture. Now, it's emerging as a frontline state, not aggressive, not reckless, but strategically awake. And geography is on its side. Batanes didn't move closer to Taiwan. The map didn't change. What changed is recognition of its value. And that's the real story. The United States isn't building a fortress. It's helping strengthen a partner positioned at a strategic crossroads. And Manila? It's leaning into that position. Carefully, calculated, deliberate. So next time someone says Batanes is just windswept hills and stone houses, tell them it's also a choke point. A signal, a forward node in one of the most consequential strategic rivalries of the 21st century, because sometimes the quietest islands make the loudest strategic statements. Now here's the real question for you. Is this smart deterrence, or is it a risky escalation? Drop your take in the comments. I read them. And if you want sharp, no-fluff breakdowns of how geography shapes power in the Indo-Pacific, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the map is shifting. And the next decisive move might already be underway.